Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. It's been a long time. I've had a few things going on and started a new job. Hooray to me. But I thought I'd dive straight back into a little bit of conspiracy stuff with Troy Peasley. He's coming on again. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. So welcome to the podcast again.
Thank you. I think this is, my third time?
Second
Time.
I don't know. Something like
I don't know, my
Who
mind's a
cares?
bit, you know how my mind works, mate.
No, it's good.
So what's been happening?
Lots of stuff. Been busy. Been real busy.
Tell me about it.
January was written off for me. Heaps of new beginnings, I guess.
Alrighty, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're telling me about your new job?
Yeah, gonna try and be an electrician.
Alrighty,
See how that goes for me.
yeah.
Bit of a change in scenery. Fucking electricity's a bit like Harry Potter magic to me, honestly. I've had zero to do with it, so it'll be good to spread my wings.
Do you have to do like
speak.
courses or anything?
Oh yeah, there's TAFE component to it and
yeah.
all that sort of stuff. I've actually got TAFE on Monday, so yeah, great. Great.
Old back to the classroom.
Yeah, I don't mind, but learning new skills and fucking
Something
all that sort of
different.
shit. Yeah, I don't mind at all.
So what's been happening, mate? Have you been following the old COVID situation?
I've actually backed off it a lot because I'm fucking sick of seeing all the shit.
Yeah.
What I have seen though is about the vaccines. So there's a lot of talk that it's not going to be mandatory, but there's plenty of coercion type influences, if you will. There's no jab, no pay. Fucking, they seem to be given, and this is the main thing that I've got an issue with, is given private businesses the ability to say, you can't use our products, you can't come to work, you can't do this, you can't do that without having this a vaccine. I don't care what vaccine. It's just a vaccine. Any vaccine.
They keep saying that it's mandatory, right? But little by little, you see these little things pop up saying, they're talking about introducing it where you're not going to be able to work if you don't get the jab. But my whole thing, and people have, flat out attacked me for this view, but I'll come back to what I originally said. The COVID-19 is stage 1. It's a test for what's to come.
Right.
That's my personal view.
Yeah.
Because if you look at what they've been saying, mate, look at Bill Gates. He's already talking about the next pandemic, and we're not even out of this one.
No, I know I said that I was backing off it a lot, and I have, but it floods your news feed, right, and everything, all social medias.
Well, mate, how can we not think about it when it's just in your face all the time, even your own work? I mean, we're still. I mean, I can't talk about work too much, but if people think that this vaccine is going to solve all of our problems, that life's just going to go back to normal, they're in for a huge shock, because it's never going to go back to normal, ever. Okay?
Right.
If people think that the lockdowns, if people think the lockdowns are going to be finished, it's never going to be finished. Because if you look at all the different viruses that we've had over the years, SARS and the Ebola, all these different viruses, mate, there's always going to be a virus out there. And now that they've used the COVID-19 as a gateway to see how we're going to react, they're just going to keep introducing these lockdowns, and they're going to be worse in the future.
So you reckon? So there's a photo from the dude that's car advice, car expert, car advice. I don't know. I can't remember his name. Anyways, I'll let that bit out.
Cars advice.
Yeah. So car advice. I'm sure it's car advice. Anyways, he had a business trip, and he posted it up on his stories and Instagram. He had to catch a plane. Obviously,
Yep.
He lives in Sydney. And he was the only one on this plane at the time he took the photo. And he said that there was maybe 4 other passengers boarded and flew from Melbourne to Sydney, and I agree with him. He put that down to a direct response to the rolling lockdowns and not knowing when or how long you can be in a different state for. Like,
Exactly.
there was ads when all this sort of shit started. There was ads saying, travel in Australia, but now it's travel in your own state. And even then, as we've seen with the Sydney and Melbourne, that fucking Ring of Iron or whatever they called that down in Melbourne, if some poor cunt was stuck in fucking Melbourne and they lived in not Melbourne, but still Victoria, they would have been fucked, like proper fucked. And I'm sure it happened. I'm sure it's happened,
mate. That's what I'm saying. Like you wouldn't travel overseas. You'd be an absolute.
Well, we're the only country in the world that we can't get out of our own country. Mm-hmm. The only one in the world.
Well, that brings me to a little thing that I'm going to talk about later. But when you go on the Queensland Health site and you make a comment saying, even if you ask about what's in the COVID vaccine, people just attack you.
Like the actual ingredient?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That doesn't seem like a
bad question. Like,
not really.
But people just attack you. Like, if you're seen as someone who's against the vaccine, you're a target.
But that's the thing. You don't even have to be against vaccines in general. You just ask a question like you've said. What's in it? How does it work?
You're seen as
all of the basic questions. Yeah. And it's like a fucking, what do they call it? A Twitter poll. Yeah. Just fucking madness.
And what I've learned over the years, and you're probably the same, is when I used to have debates or something, and someone was losing the debate, or they were they were running out of material.
Attack you?
They would go for a personal attack.
Personal attack, yeah.
That's what I've found. And in the beginning, I was like, why are these people personally attacking me? I used to get a little bit off put or off, but now I see it as a victory, because as soon as someone starts personally attacking you,
they've got nothing left.
You know that you're winning the debate. Well, not even winning, but
they've just got nothing left.
That's right.
Yeah,
and that's what I see on these Facebook, especially Queensland Health. If you ask a question, and then you're in a conversation, then suddenly they turn, even your profile pic. Like, people have a go at your profile pic. Oh, you look like you're on something, mate. And you're like, is that the best you can come up with? Oh, look at this guy. He's, they go through your whole Facebook, all your public posts and that.
Yeah, all my shit's private. Yeah. For sure.
But I don't care. Like, people can say what they want. And as soon as I know that I've got someone on the ropes and they start going for a personal attack, it's like, yeah, whatever, buddy. But
yeah, I know what you're saying. For sure.
But getting back to the COVID, mate, look, do I think that there's an actual virus? Of course there is. Do I have my thoughts on where the virus come from? Yes, I do. And
came from Australian beef, don't you know that?
Well, I won't go there, but if anyone can honestly tell me that this virus can prove to me that it wasn't man-made, then they still haven't. No one has convinced me that this virus was man-made.
No one's convinced anyone that it hasn't been man-made.
And this is where I really get in the shit, is the AIDS virus.
Right.
Go back to the...
Now, I know nothing about this. I know it doesn't kill you. I know it weakens your immune system to a point where you eventually die of something else. Mm-hmm. But as far as that's my knowledge of it.
Yeah, well... And just offshooting that, like everyone's saying, if we can cure the AIDS virus, we can cure COVID-19. But hello, AIDS virus it's not cured. Mm-hmm. Like, you can live with the AIDS virus, mm-hmm. but you're still bloody sick. Mm-hmm. And there's no cure for the AIDS virus. I just want to put that out there, because a lot of people, especially the younger generation, mate, they think the AIDS virus, there's a cure for it, but there's not.
Yeah, right. I've never heard that.
Really?
Never.
Well, you go on any social media or that, and you talk about the AIDS virus, they go, "Oh, you can live with the AIDS virus now."
Yeah, sure,
Like
you can, but you can live with a lot of things. It doesn't make it great.
But I strongly believe, and I've looked into it, like for years, because the AIDS virus, when I was a kid, it scared the absolute crap out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever, I don't know how, I don't think you'd be old enough, but do you ever remember the ads that they used to play for the AIDS virus?
No, but I have seen a couple of little things here and there. I know Princess Diana, it was like fucking world news that she shook that that person's hand that was suffering from AIDS, and it was like, holy fuck.
Yep.
It was like a really holy fuck. Like back in the day, it was like a holy fuck moment. How can she do that? She's just
it. But the older people, well, when I say older, like I'm only 43, but there were these ads playing of these Grim Reapers, and they had the bowling ball. Do you remember that?
I do remember that ad.
Mate, I couldn't sleep for like months after seeing those ads.
Yeah, right.
And that's why ever since I saw those ads, I was fascinated by the AIDS virus. I know that sounds whatever.
Weird.
But those ads of the Grim Reapers, and they'd bowl this bowling ball and it'd knock all the people.
I do remember the ad. I didn't know. I still can't now even
really
remember that it was an AIDS virus
they had to be in the
ad.
They had to be in the ads because there was that many people complaining and being terrified by the ads. But
yeah, right.
Being a kid back then, everyone thought that you were going to get the AIDS virus. Mm-hmm. I know it sounds weird, but like
that was the predominant thought at the time.
Mm-hmm. People would say, "Oh, you will know someone that gets the AIDS virus,"
Yeah, right.
And it scared the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. So I did all this work. I practically studied it, and it's like the COVID-19 now.
Yeah,
like, no one knew where it come from. Mm-hmm. There was all these rumors of someone had sex with a monkey.
Yeah.
Over in Africa, and the monkey gave the virus to him, and then he, and then there was always the theory that it was a homosexual virus, which is bullshit. Mm-hmm. But yeah, and no one still to this day really knows how the AIDS virus came about, and I believe it was a government weapon virus, released deliberately by governments.
Yep.
To see how it would go in controlled environments.
So with this COVID virus, I hate the fact that they're trying to rule out that it got out of this Wuhan lab, right?
Yeah.
I really hate it because, again, no one really fucking knows. I mean, the WHO have done, well, they say they've started or completed, I'm not even sure about that, this investigation on where it came from. It doesn't seem really fair seeing China is a huge donation giver to the WHO.
Yeah.
It seems like conflict of interest there. I feel like it should be an independent type investigation, and they ruled it out really quickly, and they used Chinese fucking investigations. Like, when you're dealing with China and the CCP, you can't fucking you can't go on their word.
No.
Because they're going to protect their government at all costs. I mean, they fucking, like I was joking around there before, they actually tried to blame it on Australian beef at one stage. Like, that was an actual thing that they said.
I mean, they divert,
and it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they absolutely do.
Yeah.
And I hate that most people or organization whatever have ruled out that it came out of this lab. Mm-hmm. I don't think that if it came out of the lab, I don't think it was on purpose. It doesn't seem, and I'm not taking away the deadliness and all this sort of sensitivity to it, but it doesn't seem deadly enough to be a completed weapon that has been set upon the world on purpose. But listening to way more intelligent people than myself in podcasts and reading things, it seems to have come from nowhere, been perfectly adapted to spread between humans, which doesn't fucking happen. It just doesn't happen. And there's no build up to it. It didn't go... So like with SARS, first SARS, and MERS as well, there was isolated incidents that it came here and there, and it affected a few people here and a few people there in various places, and it pops up for a few years, and eventually it made the leap to humans again, and it stuck, and then it was starting to move through, and both SARS and MERS were slow moving enough, because particularly MERS, it was fucking deadly as fuck.
Yeah.
But anyway, and it moved through slowly enough that they could get it under control relatively easily. Mm-hmm. Again, a lot of, not taking death out of the equation and all that sort of stuff. But this...
Oh, sorry.
You're right.
Oh my
God. Phone call? Yeah. You can take it if you need to.
No, it's not important. I'll turn that off, actually.
So yeah, and with COVID, I mean...
See Ashley Mum in your contacts.
Yeah, what that was. What the hell? Yeah, let's turn that off, eh? All right.
So yeah, with COVID, it seems like it can spread easily, or relatively easily. It just doesn't seem deadly enough to me. And I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about. It just doesn't seem deadly enough that it's because the survivability rate and all that sort of shit. Like, lots of people have died from it, but a lot more haven't. And that's why I don't think it was intentionally set upon the world. I just don't think it was finished to be a weapon. I don't want to say finished because I don't know. I don't know what I'm fucking talking about.
But people really, I mean, how do we know exactly how many people are dying from the COVID-19?
Oh, for sure.
They link anything, people with already, what do you call it, with
pre-existing illnesses.
Exactly, and then they get COVID. Mm-hmm. No matter what they die from, they'll put it down as a COVID death. I mean, that's public knowledge. Everyone knows that now.
Yeah. They tried to hide that for a long time too.
They did.
Particularly in America, because everyone points to America and how bad it's been over there. And it's like, there's a lot of people that, again, not taking anything away from people that have died, but there have been a lot of people that have caught and got over it in America. Lots. And statistically speaking, they are the most unhealthy nation in the world, bar none. They have the most comorbidities of any nation anywhere in the world.
That's it. But it brings me back to my point that I think that this is a test, okay? Because my whole thing is, whether I've said it before, like I got hit a lot in the head as a kid from boxing, so I've been told I possibly have brain damage. So
is that CTE?
Mate, I don't know. No. It was doctors telling me. But anyway, so if I go off track, just snap your fingers and say, hey, come back. So, I still believe that this is all a test stage to see how we're reacting, to see how far that they can push us into certain environments, certain situations. And like I said, do I believe there is a virus? Yeah. But if you even look at it when it first started coming out, I mean, all the Chinese whistleblowers, they've disappeared. Mm-hmm. Especially that one doctor, I can't remember her name now.
Everyone knows who you're talking about, but I do. I can't think of her name, but I do know who you're talking about.
I can't believe that the world isn't frigging, she's just been forgotten about. Mm-hmm. Why aren't, like those 5 so-called experts that went over to China to investigate and try to find out where the virus come from, why isn't there an investigation to where the doctor has disappeared? Mm-hmm. Why aren't we up in arms about her? We still don't know what happened to her. And what other information did she have? Why, that's crazy to me. I mean, we have 24-hour news of Tiger Woods having a car crash, and yet this doctor is no one's talking about her.
So hang on a second. Tiger Woods had a car crash?
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding. I don't watch TV. I'm not plugged
that's what I'm
into
saying.
mainstream media.
Okay. This is how sad I am. Every morning I'll get up and I'll put on Fox News to see the latest about
Yeah, Roger.
COVID. And all over the news was Tiger Woods.
Crona's forgotten about, man.
Yeah, Tiger Woods has had a car crash. Like, oh, really? That's, I mean, sad for Tiger Woods, but who, I mean, obviously you seem to care.
No, not really.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so, like, who really cares? And
I
there's
don't
still
want
going on.
I don't want
Woods
anyone to
having
have a fucking
No.
car crash or anything, but
I mean, but seriously, if that's the biggest news at the moment with everything going on,
yeah.
we still have a doctor
I
that's
get what you're
disappeared
saying.
that has tried to warn us about the virus and who else, like, what else does she know? And she's gone.
Sure.
No one's talking about it.
Yeah.
And that just blows my mind. But they're more worried about, I hope Tiger's okay. It's just...
Yeah, sure.
That sort of stuff blows my mind, and that's the sort of fucked up, crazy person I am.
But I mean, the media's always been, not always, but it's been like that for a long time. I mean, when the last time I watched news on the TV, there was fucking shit about the Kardashians. I'm like, this isn't news.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck am I watching this?
Caught in this hot though, but...
And even lately now that Facebook and Google have, I don't want to say banned, but they've gotten rid of all the mainstream media off their platforms.
Well,
There's
it's
even
back now.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't even noticed.
Yeah, it's back. They did a total backflip on it, and you can get all your cool mainstream media.
Well, that sucks. Because I kind of liked my news feed, mainstream
Without
media
all the
feed.
shit, without all the crap in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm going to go through,
And it's all going to be there.
unfollow all those
Yeah.
pages.
But my whole thing, man, is, all jokes aside with the COVID, I honestly believe it is a test, and I believe that we are slaves. Nothing has evolved really from the time the Egyptians owned slaves.
No.
I mean, we're still working for... I mean, big government and big business are our masters, and nothing has evolved. You can go through the Egyptians, the slaves that the Egyptians had, of course the Africans, slaves. You can go through it all, mate. But we, right now, have still haven't evolved, and we still have the slave mentality. Because if you look at governments right now, they put in laws, and we blindly follow it. I mean...
Don't even understand what it's saying most of the time.
I mean, we're getting, the police act as the soldiers to implement the laws. If you don't follow it, you get fined, put in jail. And something that woke me up was when the Black Lives Matter were having all their protests. And they weren't arrested. They weren't, but when other groups wanted to protest, like against the lockdowns and that, you were put in jail. You were fined. You were rounded up. So that's what I'm saying. There's always been this double standard sort of thing, and I don't know why I'm talking about that sort of shit, but we're slaves, mate.
Sure.
If anyone can honestly tell me that they are free, then I'd be shocked. And obviously, but people will say, I'm free. I mean, no one's telling me, really, you're free? So you can do whatever you want? Well,
Not
I'm
really.
free. I mean, and they'll say, we have to have laws. If we don't have laws, then society would crumble. Really? So any laws that the government makes, you're going to follow it. Oh, well, no, that's crazy. Really? So when they had the laws to shut the borders and that, and you couldn't go and see your sick grandmother in Melbourne, are you free? Well, they did those laws to protect us. Oh, okay. Mate, we are so fucking still into the slave mentality and the sheep mentality, it blows my mind. And you try to talk to people and get them to realise that nothing has changed since the friggin' Egyptians owned slaves. They look at you as if you're crazy, but yet they still...
It's just been rebranded, right?
Mate, you took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is. They've evolved into hiding it better. I mean, your house, you pay mortgage, you own this little block of land, but at any time the government can swoop in and take it from you. If you don't pay your rates, it's never yours. And someone was telling me, like, I'm not a land expert in this land sort of stuff, but I don't know how we got on the subject, but
that doesn't matter.
There was something underneath his land, like not on the surface, but underneath.
Right.
And the government, did you know that you only own like the surface of your land? Now, someone's going to come and say, this guy's a fucking idiot.
No, in Australia, that's true. That's accurate,
that's right?
Yes. Yep.
So, like, if they want something under your land, they can get it, right?
Yeah. So, resources businesses and resource businesses, coal, oil, gas, those sorts of people. They have the rights to anything under your land. You can't acquire that unless you have the appropriate licenses and all the rest of it. Just because your house is there, that doesn't mean shit.
Doesn't that blow your mind though?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the airports, they have the same kind of rights. I'm sure they're written different, but at the end of the day, they're still taking your house. I mean, the Castle, the movie.
Yep. One of my favourite movies, yep.
Yeah, that whole movie is on those rights as the landholder.
Oh, rightio.
So yeah, that is accurate.
So, again, I ask the people, prove me wrong that we're not slaves. I mean, seriously, we're all working, just trying to survive.
Most people,
and that's probably what the slaves worked to survive, didn't they?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, most people, I don't know. They seem to be content. I guess.
Yeah.
With the
distracted.
Yeah, definitely distracted. But I mean, you go to work, you come home, you do fucking nothing. Entertainment, I guess. Entertainment. You go to sleep, you repeat, and yeah. Crazy. I don't know.
And when you talk to so-called educated people, they totally just look at it as, this guy is fucking off his meds or something. and you try to get into conversation. But
Some do.
Yeah, well.
Definitely some do.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying...
They throw all these big words at you,
Nah.
I went to university and all this shit. Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
I've got to be careful now, but again, I think universities at the moment are like melting pots for like leftist
ideology.
Cult shit. Like our kids are being brainwashed to totally, number one, have disregard for their country, and just there's this like leftist doctrine that's being put into our kids right now in universities all around the world.
Yeah, well, it's not just universities. I mean, it starts way before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree with that. And I don't know whether it's a government enforced thing or whether it's the people teaching. I would like to think that it's people teaching, but that doesn't make it any better.
Scary places, universities.
Yeah.
They are. But
take lots of money off you for nothing.
They do. But
sure.
Yeah, like universities, if you walked onto a university right now, right, and started talking about any number of topics to do with Australia and how to make Australia better, you would get absolute nutcases at you.
Sure.
Trying to tell you, oh, you're a white supremacist, change the date, Australia. I won't get into all that, but what I'm saying is that common sense is being taken away from our children, and
sure.
it's being they're being brainwashed, which is half the reason my children are being homeschooled right now.
Yeah, right.
And there is a big movement at the moment for people to change from the systematic school bullshit, which has gone away from reading, writing, and arithmetic to everything. Like, they want to teach friggin' grade 5ers about, well, to put it blunt, like sex and all this other shit. And it's like, no, that's really not the school's job, is it?
Sure.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, that anything to do with sex, anything apart from reading, writing, arithmetic should be up to the parents or guardians, whatever you want to call it these days. But it's not, and that's why there is a big movement at the moment, and kids are getting away. Well, not only that, but the bullying, the social media shit that kids have to put up with. I mean, in my day, you know, if you had a spat at school or an argument, you went home, it was forgotten about.
Done and dusted, yeah.
Forgotten about.
Sure.
Next day, it'd be something else. Now, kids go from school to home and they're being bombarded by what happened at school.
On social media.
They can't escape it.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, well, shut off the phone.
Yeah, it's easier said than done.
Is it?
It is very, very easy to say that, hard to put in practice.
Yeah.
Kids, I don't know. They've always had a way. Always. I can remember it. I never got what I wanted, but fucking guarantee if you sat my old man down in here, he'd be like, he always got what he wanted. It's just the way it is.
Yeah,
unless you go back to, the fucking probably the 50s, I guess, when kids were seen, not heard.
Yeah,
that's
even in my day, mate, it was sort of like that.
Yeah, but even still, you've got that story about when
I
you're
remember
seeing
the old man
UFO.
coming in and saying, why is he sitting at the table? Get outside and play. Let the adults talk.
Yeah, sure, but that's a respect thing. That's been lost too. Absolutely.
That's going to get me on to another rant, but what I'm saying is,
go.
I really want to talk about the homeschooling.
Yeah, I was. Yes, I did want to ask you
people,
about that. How's homeschooling?
The first thing I get, like this was actually my the mother of the children's idea to get in homeschool, and I was actually against it at first.
Really?
And I said to I said to
Mum.
I said to Mum, I said, what about the social aspect? I mean, how is that going to prepare them for a job or work? And she turned to me and she said, yeah, well, they do go to like parks and everything where all the homeschool kids come, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
and they interact and whatever. She goes, but she said, do you know how many children are committing suicide every year in schools in Toowoomba? And I remember when my kids were going to school, I won't name the school, but mate, there was a suicide that I can remember every year there were kids taking their own lives.
Yeah, right.
And I know it was from a whole different range of things, but the number one thing was bullying. And like whole other things, and she said that homeschool kids have a lower, or I don't know the percentages, but it's like there's a far less greater threat of homeschool kids taking their own lives than there are children in the system at the moment.
Yeah, right.
And that was one of the big things that woke me up.
Right.
And it's just some kids aren't able to, like the systems, it doesn't work on individual cases.
Fuck no. It teaches your kid to sit in the same spot doing boring shit, getting told what to do for 6 or more hours a day.
And like you got 30 kids in a classroom. The teacher can't, I'm not blaming the teacher, it's just
God no.
the way
That's
it
a
is.
fucking tough job.
That's it. But they can't put all their time into an individual child. You know?
Yeah, sure.
And mate, some kids just cannot learn the way the system's teaching at the moment. because everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there was this like a cartoon I saw, might even been from the kid's mother, but she had there was this cartoon, right? And there was all these animals up in a tree, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then down the bottom there was like a little goldfish, and it's goldfish thing. And it was like everyone who doesn't make it up to the top of the tree has failed. And it was like this little fish.
Mm-hmm.
And that really woke me up. It's probably not the exact, but you get the picture.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And that's the way schools are set up right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's always going to be those kids that don't fit into the system.
Sure. Absolutely.
And, yeah, so that's my little rant on homeschooling.
How's it going?
It's good. They love it.
Really?
Mate, they have never been happier. I'm talking about I've got 6 kids, right?
Yeah.
The triplets are the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, right on.
The other kids went through the whole,
School
school system and that.
Mm-hmm.
And, mate, they hated it. Now, I don't know why, but, yeah. There was... I shouldn't say they all hated it, but, yeah. The triplets love it. They love the homeschooling. They love just a different environment.
Yeah, what grade is it?
Well, they're 13 now.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Grade 9, 8.
I guess it's
Something
8 or
like
9. I don't know. But, yeah, they're 13, so...
How are you finding it?
Mate, seeing them more happier. Because, and being triplet, I don't know whether the triplets have it harder than everyone else because they're seen as different.
It'd have to be.
So, yeah, but they seem more happier, so that's all I care about.
Yeah,
And they
okay.
seem to be learning more.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, homeschool, like, people think, they just sit in the lounge room or something and they don't really get... Mate, they go out to, they go out in the actual world and they go to different places and they get taught about this certain place and the history of it, that sort of thing. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, right. See, we're sort of into a society where that can't really happen. You know, mum and dad are both at work.
Yeah.
You know, basically what you need to do something with the kids, and it's either they go to school or one of the two guardians, parents, carers, whatever, doesn't work. Yeah, that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's why we sort of had to wait until the triplets were at an age. Like, I think the mother had always wanted to get them out of the school system, but because, like you said, you know, we were both working at the time, and you know, but now that they're at a certain age, it is easier to get them out of that school system and into the homeschooling. And like you said, I don't know how it works for other people with younger kids when, you know, they're working and all that sort of thing.
So is there a certain criteria you've got to fucking meet?
Yes, there is, but it's a lot more based on their individual.
Yeah.
So, but there is a
call.
Like there is a how to explain it? Yeah, like a core. Like there's a system that you've got to follow.
Right.
But it's different to the mainstream school system.
Yeah. Okay.
But
from,
it is monitored, like
from Queensland government?
Mate, again, you'd have to. The mother takes care of all the important stuff. I don't know, but
as usual.
Someone does come to the house. And,
yeah. Okay.
And they interview the kids.
Yeah. Okay.
And they interview, you know, your environment, everything.
Yeah.
So you're not just left on your own.
Uh-huh.
Like there's a support base, and there's actually a group where they all go out and meet, and talk about everything.
Yeah. Right.
And you've still got to meet criteria.
Yeah.
Like you're not just left to
try
teach
for
your kid
yourself.
whatever you sort of want. So,
yeah.
But so that's my little rant on homeschooling. But I think, and this is what I really want to get out there, if your child is really suffering in the school system, if they're not happy, if they're really friggin' what's the word? Emotionally distraught from going to school, pull them out.
Mm-hmm.
Pull them out and do it today. Because what you don't want is what's been happening to all those other poor parents that have to find their child, committed suicide or tried to take their own life. If your child is so unhappy with school, just take them out. Whatever it takes, take them out of the system.
Figure it out.
Yeah. But, so we've talked about a few different topics, mate, and I'm sorry because
that's good. I like it.
Like, it's just like a wave of...
No, it's good.
I'm easily onto a different subject. But talking about the family and that, I want to bring up something like, I know a lot of people, even from the 80s, like the family unit has changed, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
And I remember back at when I was younger, Christmas was a huge event for us.
Mm-hmm.
I remember living out at Westbrook on the farm. Christmas was always a big thing to do. Like we never had money, and everyone who knows us knows that we were poor, whatever you want to call it. But we always had what we needed.
Mm-hmm.
But Christmas out at Westbrook, that's where we lived, out on a farm out at Westbrook. It was always a big thing, and I remember the one time of the year that the house was totally decked out and decorated was Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the huge Christmas decorations Mum used to put, and Dad always used to have the biggest Christmas tree you could imagine.
Yeah,
I don't
sure.
know where he used to get them from.
Nah.
Probably used to, I don't know.
Side of the road.
Yeah. But they were huge, mate, and they were that tall. Like, we used to have these huge ceilings.
Yeah.
Like, it was an old farmhouse,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Back in the day. And this big fucking gigantic Christmas tree would always be in the corner in a fucking bucket of, like a white bucket, and he used to put bricks and shit in there and
Keep standing up, yeah.
And Mum used to make sure that the bottom of the bucket was decorated.
Sure.
But I remember this tree was always decorated. And I remember, even the old man will tell you about this, but I remember all the rallies that, I mean, you'd never seen in your life, but they would all come for Christmas.
Mm.
When I say you haven't seen them, but like you didn't see them every day.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But for Christmas, out at Westbrook,
every single one of your relatives was there.
a lot of them, mate.
Yeah.
Like people, our family's all over the joint.
Yeah.
From Townsville to Melbourne.
Yeah.
But back then they weren't Melbourne. But Redcliffe, huge Redcliffe, and Arnie Merle and Joe. But as a kid, I loved Christmas because it was like the best. And we used to have this big winding dirt track, right? Because we're out of the middle of fucking nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Our nearest neighbours was the Westbrook Boys' Home.
Yeah, yeah, righto.
I'll tell you some stories about that. But so you see these cars come, and you think, "Oh, who's this? Who's this coming?" And they'd come up the old dirt track, and it'd be one of your rallies, and they'd have a plate of food. And I just remember that Christmas was always the one time of the year where, no matter if you hated your rallies, they'd all come, no matter what, and they'd sit down to this big roast dinner that Mum had been cooking since 8 o'clock, or even earlier.
The day before.
Yeah,
yeah.
And you'd have Grandpa and Ma and Pop and Nana, and Pop would be pissed out of his head, coughing all over the food, but it was great. You didn't care, and all the rallies around the table, and all your cousins and
everyone.
Nowadays, I don't know about you, but that rarely happens anymore.
No, yeah, we still do it.
You still do it?
Oh yeah.
Well, you're one of the lucky ones.
So my lovely wife's family,
Yes.
absolutely massive on Christmas.
Alrighty, yeah.
So yeah, we still do it over there. And we still go to Mum's place, the same thing. Everyone rocks up to Mum's place, and
You're one of the lucky
still
ones.
good.
And try to hold on to it. Because, I mean, you even look around your neighbourhood, or where I am, and there's no kids outside playing.
My kids are quite often the only ones in the street outside playing.
That's what I mean. Like, you know, it's all. But out of Westbrook, I mean, we didn't have any real kids to play with except for our landlords up in their mansion up on the hill. They used to look down at us, the old henners. But we did play with them actually sometimes when we were allowed to. But Christmas, for me, that's something that I'm trying to bring back to my kids.
Yeah.
And we always have a Christmas tree and decorations, and no matter where we are, if I'm not working, because in my work, it's hard to get Christmas off.
Sure.
But,
sure.
When I am off, we always, it's not a secret. My wife and I have split up at the moment, so but we always, no matter what, we always make sure that Christmas is the one time of the year where everything's
happy. Good.
Yeah. And
amicable.
That's what I want to bring back. I think people should bring back more family get-togethers. Even if you can't stand, your relatives or that, you got to think of your nieces and nephews and your own kids. Think about how you were growing up, right? And think about, them. Even if you don't like old Uncle Bernie or Uncle Pete, who cares?
It's too easy to unfriend now, though.
It is. Don't get me
just
started on that.
You just push that button and she's all over.
I think I'm the most blocked person in Australia. Just putting it out there, but yeah.
But yeah, the unfriend. It seems like people take that from Facebook and they apply it in real life.
Yes.
They just I don't like what you said this one time.
Isn't
and
that
unfriended, gone forever out of my life.
You've hit the nail on the head, mate.
Yeah.
And that's the evil of social media. Like back in the day, to have a conversation, you actually used to have to get in your car and rock up to your uncle's or aunt's place. Now, it's just a matter of a message that someone's misinterpreted.
Bullshitting over fucking Twitter or some shit. Yeah,
and
arguing.
I'll admit, I've done it myself. Like
I used to.
As I said, I think I'm the most blocked person in Australia. I honestly believe that. But I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I say, whatever pops into this stupid fucking head of mine, it'll just come out.
That's not always a bad thing. It can be.
Well,
can get you into trouble, but
in my situation. But yeah.
So I used to be a victim of that too, getting into arguments and whatnot on Facebook. So, and then it was just like, what the fuck am I doing it for?
Yeah.
And it was really when I started listening to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It's like this really perverse way of communicating, and no one gets anything out of it. Arguing on social media platforms. Nothing. There's no way I'm convincing someone else on a fucking social media platform of my point of view.
That's right.
And vice versa. As much as I like to think that if someone brings to the table some good opinions, backs it up with some good studies, whatever the case may be, I try and stay open-minded as I can.
Yeah.
But going into a fucking Facebook argument, that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And now I still like to comment on different, people. Someone's asking a question in a group that I'm in, I'll answer it.
Yep.
If someone picks my answer, I'll explain my answer. One message. And if they keep going, it's I just forget about it. It's gone. And I bet there is heaps of conversations, because it's been the last few years that I've been doing it for, and there would be heaps of conversations, not that I would call them that, but heaps of conversations that I've just left, just open like that. I'm just like, you didn't get it from my first or my second post.
It's draining after
It's
a
gone.
while. Yep.
It's out of my life. I forget about it. But it took a lot of discipline and a real conscious effort to be like that now.
Because as I said earlier on, like I used to get really sort of off-putting when people started making personal attacks.
Yeah.
Like if I left a comment and people would eventually start going to personal attacks. Like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this fuckwit. He looks like he's on something or something. But now, I've made a rule, right? I've made a rule that if I'm going to put something on social media, be prepared for the fuckwits and, and the dickheads that are going to come after you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know consciously now, and it's something that I've tried to tell my kids about too. Like if you're going to put something out in the public or out on social media, be prepared that people are going to attack you.
Yeah.
Just be prepared for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's something that I've always been conscious of, right?
Yeah. A lot of people aren't, though.
No. But getting back to the
people.
family thing and the old Facebook and that, I think Facebook has, I shouldn't say responsible because in the end it's your post or their comment, but Facebook has certainly played a part in a lot of breakdowns of friendships, of family.
Absolutely.
And I think that has really been an evil of social media.
Have you seen the documentary The Social Dilemma?
No, but I've been told to watch it.
Yeah, watch it. It is fucking scary. And it's scary because you know it's true.
That's what everyone has said who's watched it.
Yep. So what you just said, that's about, taking responsibility for your own actions. Mm-hmm. I'm all for that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I would like the government to be more like that. Real small government, individual take responsibility for themselves, right? But when you're talking about something like Facebook, Instagram, which is basically picture Facebook, or Twitter, and, the social media the social media platforms, they have quite literally millions of dollars of research behind them from people that really understand and know how your brain works.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's the individual with, high school education, usually, like on average, you really don't stand a fucking chance, do you?
Mm-mm. Nope. It's all designed to
target you specifically.
Yep.
Yeah, and
well, look at Mark Zuckerberg when they had the inquiry, and they were trying to get him to answer questions.
Oh,
and he's totally
blasé about it.
Oh well,
for sure.
I can't answer that right, but I'll get my people to look into it. I'm not paraphrasing him, but he said, he didn't answer sweet F all, and. But I think we all know now that our mobiles are just like a spying tool.
Yeah, for sure.
Or, whatever you're going to say,
they track everything.
Everyone knows about it. Like the government, they know exactly what you're thinking. Not even the government, but big tech companies.
Yeah.
I mean, who's that guy? That Edward Snowden.
Yeah.
There's a fantastic thing on Rogan.
Yeah.
That he explains it all, and.
You on Signal?
What's that?
Are you on Signal?
Mate.
Messaging app?
No.
You should get on Signal.
What's that?
So it's an encrypted end-to-end encryption for messaging.
Alrighty, yeah.
Yeah. So if so basically there's 3 levels.
Mm. Jesus.
Oh, not in Signal, but so if you use your phone carrier, that's the easiest. The most easily intercepted way of communicating. So anyone can pick that up, like literally anyone.
Right, yeah.
If you use something like Facebook Messenger, obviously Facebook can intercept those messages, and they can. I'm not entirely sure, but I wouldn't rule it out. I would like to think that they don't read all your messages, but that is entirely a possibility. Like they can actually do that.
I think they look for
keywords and all that sort of fucking shit. Yeah, for sure.
Guarantee you that they're looking into it.
But from my understanding is they can look at all of your messages.
Jesus.
So all the pictures that you've sent, someone somewhere can log on and see that.
That's one I'm still here then. Just kidding. No, but yeah.
So
I guarantee you, I'm with you on that. Yeah.
So and then there's encrypted messages, and it was fucking. I laughed the other day. I seen in the local paper, the Chronicle, big fucking thing on had Mark Zuckerberg on the front page, and he was saying that him and his executives were thinking about there's another, WhatsApp.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah, so it used to be encrypted, end-to-end encryption. No one could fucking see your messages.
Yep.
Facebook acquired WhatsApp, took it over, like everything else. They bought WhatsApp and they got rid of that part, so Facebook could intercept messages if need be.
Yep.
Apparently it was more secure, but if need be, Facebook could do that under, if they got directed by a court order or whatnot. So Facebook recently, like I said, Mark Zuckerberg and his fucking executives, they decided that they were looking at putting that back in place, so making it encrypted again. And the Australian government jumped straight on it and were like, Mark Zuckerberg's protecting child pedophiles.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they're using the old protection fucking cause again. And I mean, yes, it's an issue. Like, it's definitely an issue, but when is your privacy become an issue?
Yeah, that's it.
I don't send anything to anyone really that's too out there.
Yep.
But I don't want anyone else fucking reading my messages if
That's
they
it.
just want
That's
to.
it. But whether or not, you say like encrypted and that, mate, I don't trust anything. Like I know, like phones, as I said, we all know that they're just a spying tool. Even your TVs, your computers,
Smart
whatever.
TV, sure.
Mate, they're all connected to the big world of network.
Well, speaking of
satellites, whatever.
Speaking of Mark Zuckerberg, there was a video floating around on him. He opens up his computer, and the little camera that's facing you, he's got that taped up.
Yeah.
If someone like Mark Zuckerberg's doing that, you got to be starting to ask questions.
Mate, I've already started. Mate, I did that years ago.
Yeah, so I used to have it done, but unfortunately, I got to use the computer camera.
But I mean, like inside your house and that, like wherever there's a computer, it's
if it's connected to the internet, for sure, it's a vulnerability.
Yep,
for sure.
But,
I would love to speak to someone about that too.
Yeah, there'd be someone you could talk to.
Sure.
But, getting back to I'm going to jump subject here.
Yeah, go on.
Mate, when I listened to your podcast with Katie Harvey, it brought back some memories.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
And Katie, if you're listening, you've still got to do a podcast with me. I did have hooked up to speak to her, but as with my life, something come up and couldn't get onto it. But I listened to the
bullshit
podcast.
Happens.
Yeah, that was one of the best podcasts I've listened to. Scared the F out of me.
Yeah, you should have been here. Holy fuck.
Mate, but something brought back some memories, man. When she brought in her possessed dolls.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like, dolls creep me out no matter what anyway.
Did you see the fucking photo of them?
Oh, mate.
Holy
seriously.
God.
Even when I come and I saw that thing, that was like a shark man or something. But, yeah. So I was listening to this and Katie brought in the possessed dolls and I think it was Latoya was here too. And she heard something or something happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, you fucking kidding me. But it brought back some memories. And I'm going back to when I was a kid, right, to 1986. They brought out Poltergeist 2.
Oh, yeah.
Not the original, but
yeah, I've
part
seen
2,
it,
right?
yeah.
Oh, well, if you've seen it, then you'll know what I'm going to talk about.
It was a long time ago. I don't remember large chunks of the movie, but I have seen it.
All right. Well, Poltergeist 2, there was this scene in Poltergeist 2, right, when the little girl's in a room.
Yes.
And all the fucking toys come alive.
Yes.
All right. And there's this one part where this robot goes up to the little girl and it speaks. I forget what it says, but its eyes fucking light up red and it's got this gun and it shoots and it's shooting her and it speaks to her. Mate, I couldn't sleep for like 6 months. I was 9 years old and Mum, they didn't care back then what shows you watched.
Yeah.
But fuck, it scared me for 6 months because I thought that all the toys in my house were possessed and were going to get me.
Just seconds away from getting you.
Yeah, but the best is yet to come, right? So 1986, I watched Poltergeist 2.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't sleep for 6 months, maybe exaggerating a bit, but I guarantee you there was no fucking toy in my room.
Yep.
So Christmas comes, right? Now, yeah, I'm always the first up. I'm 9 years old. I usually get up about 5 o'clock every Christmas.
Yep.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Piss off the brothers and sisters. And usually Mum would tell me, go back to bed or whatever.
Yep.
But there was something about this Christmas, right? So I was 9 years old. I run out to the Christmas tree. And standing in front was this huge fucking present. It was overtowering everyone else's present. Now, back then I was a bit illiterate, but I could make out my name. Mm-hmm. And I knew it was Troy in this beautiful red Christmas packaging. And I thought, you fucking ripper. All right? So I run. I just tear that mother open. What do you think was staring back at me?
Motherfucking robot.
The fucking robot, man. From Poltergeist 2. And, mate, no word of a lie. I screamed like a little bitch. Woke up the whole house. I ran back to my bedroom, jumped on, put the covers over. Mum come in. Parents were a bit different back then, right?
Yeah, definitely they were.
So I'm screaming, get that thing away. I don't want it. I don't want it. Send it back. She's going, what are you talking about? I said, that robot, I don't want it, Mum. It's going to get me. It's going to get me. And like I said, parents were a bit different back then. Do you know how much that fucking present cost me? You'll like it and you'll love it. And... yeah, I said, whatever. And no word of a lie, for 6 months, I had that sucker in that, still in the box, mate. Still tied up to little fucking plastic handcuffs. It was still in the box for 6 months. I put it in the cupboard, put all my clothes and shit over it so it couldn't get me. And then eventually, the effects of my traumatic experience watching Poltergeist 2 had worn off.
Yep.
And one day, I was going through my closet and I thought, oh, fuck, there's that robot that Mum brought me. Cut a long story short, it turned out to be my favourite toy of all time.
Yeah, that's a go.
Do you know the robot I'm talking about?
No, I don't think
it's
I do.
Robotron RT2. It's got the gun.
Uh-huh.
It blows the smoke out of its mouth. You put, I think it's vegetable or something in the top, and it blows smoke. Mate, my favourite, I took that sucker everywhere. Even when I went on trips to Redcliffe, Glasshouse Mountains to see the cousin, it was with me.
Yeah, right.
And to this day, I've got it.
Really?
Yep. So from 9 to 43, I don't know how many years that is.
Lots.
But I'm missing the gun part.
Yeah, right. Need to
But
get that
it's still
gun
got
back.
its little belt. The belt's broken, but it's sitting up on the table, up on next to the TV.
Yeah.
My mate, from 9 years old, I kept that robot. But it's from that robot. You can see it in Poltergeist 2.
Yeah,
There's
right.
a little movie trivia. It's when all the toys come alive in the room. And,
Yeah, I
and
know
that
the scene you're
robot
talking about.
fucking goes up to her.
Yeah, for sure.
Eyes light up and it fucking talks to her. Spun me out. But yeah, that's my favourite toy now. And yeah, so when I saw Katie Harvey and she was talking about the dolls and
Yeah.
creeping the fuck out of me, as she normally does, that woman, I thought, yeah, that reminds me of when I was 9.
Yeah.
And Mum fucking brought me that robot from Poltergeist 2.
Yeah, well, right at the end of that podcast, fucking these pictures that the fucking kids stuck up on the mirror, Harley fucking dropped off the mirror and fucking scared the shit out of everyone.
Yeah,
It was good.
I bet.
It was funny.
There's another doll that gets around. I don't know if that's the right word. But the Get Me Out of Here doll. Have you heard of that?
No.
You haven't heard of that one?
No, I don't think so.
The dude lives in Warwick.
Right.
And he's got this doll that he believes is possessed.
Uh-huh.
I don't know the full story, but he goes to all the, like when Toowoomba used to have its, I don't know if they still do, the Toowoomba Horror Nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he'll bring that out.
Okay.
He'll set up his little stand. You can go and get your picture taken with it. It's just like a doll. It's like a bloody, one of those, looks like one of those ventriloquist dolls.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a, I don't know, is it like a wooden, but anyway, it's called the Get Me Out of Here doll,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he reckons that it was it possessed by a little boy? Or so, look, I don't know the history of it, but it's the freakiest looking friggin' doll you've ever seen, mate. And people have sworn that that it's like it's cursed and like shit happens around it. And he'll say that during the night you can hear it walking through his house and shit.
Fuck that.
And mate, I've been trying for years to try to get this dude to let me come and interview him, but haven't been successful as yet. But I will. I'll convince him one day.
Wear him down.
Yeah, I just want to go to his house and just do a little recording and have the doll sit on a fucking chair and ask the doll questions and just see what happens. But it's called the Get Me Out of Here doll. It's freakiest looking. They reckon it's the most possessed doll in Australia.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cool. I'm going to have a look at that.
Yeah, and like people have said that shit has happened to them after they've met it, and all this weird shit has happened. Mm-hmm. But he goes to all the shows around Toowoomba and fucking Warwick and everything.
Yeah.
But freaky fucking thing. It looks like one of those fucking. When you look at it, you're just waiting for it to get up and start walking around.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck that. Katie's was bad. No, it was fucking. It was.
Yeah.
That thing was crazy. Yeah.
But a lot of shit has happened to that woman.
That thing was crazy.
I remember years ago watching her, and she was it a live feed or something, but she went for a walk and she come back to her kitchen and all the cupboard doors were open. And I was like, yeah, that's
I'd be out.
I'd be halfway to anywhere.
Yeah, sure. I'd be out of there though.
But yeah, we've got to interview her. Your interview was good. I want to ask her more about her Bigfoot encounter.
Yeah. You ever had one?
A Bigfoot encounter?
Or do you know anyone that's had one?
I do, but fuck it. I'll talk about it, but I'll probably get in trouble.
Why?
Well, they're related to us.
So?
But I won't mention the specific name.
Yeah, go on.
But it was one of our cousins.
Right.
And they lived in Pittsworth. Okay?
Uh-huh.
You probably know who I'm talking about.
I think I do.
Okay. But anyway, so the story goes is that there was this creek or something around. Now I'm talking the 1980s. So I don't know if things have changed in I've been out Pittsworth for years. But anyway, there was this swimming hole that all the kids used to go to, right? Mm-hmm. And they used to go all hours of the day and not come home till
dark.
Yeah. Like the good old days. And anyway, so the story goes that one night, this cousin of ours come home and he was white as a ghost. Uh-huh. And he was shivering and trying to...
He was in shock.
He was in shock, but fuck it, I'm going to say it. Our auntie, our auntie was saying, what's wrong? Tell me what happened. And he couldn't speak for like hours, mate. He was that in shock, and that something had obviously freaked him out, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, when they got him to talk about it, he said that he was at this waterhole in Pittsworth, right? And that at first there was a group of kids, but eventually, they all started going home, and he was left. He was the last one. And as he started to get out of this waterhole, he said that there was something staring over at him on the banks of this waterhole. And he described it as a huge man-like thing. It wasn't a man, but he said it looked like a big, huge... hairy, man-looking thing.
Yeah, right.
He said it was huge, but it wasn't a man. He knew definitely that it wasn't a man.
Yeah.
And he was just in shock. He couldn't get out of the water. He just stayed there until the thing went. And that's my Bigfoot story.
Fucking fight or flight,
Yeah.
freeze.
But he couldn't move, mate. And even when he got home, they couldn't get him to talk about it for a few hours. He was in that much shock. And he still doesn't like to talk about it today. And I'm still, whenever I ask certain people if I'm allowed to say names, because I want to put it on, I want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And they're like, no.
Really?
But all I'll say is he's related to us. lived out of Pittsworth, so that gives, like, our family will know who the fuck I'm talking about, but other people won't, hopefully. But yeah, that's our Bigfoot story. But so I want to talk more to her about her experience.
Yeah, sure.
Katie's Bigfoot experience. But because that's always fascinated me too, the old Bigfoot stories.
Yeah.
And there's been so many around Toowoomba that people don't even know about. There was the one at Echo Valley when the car races were on.
Yeah.
And do you know where Echo
Yeah,
Valley
I know it, yeah.
And apparently as someone was coming out of that entry or driveway, something walked across the road and they described it as a huge, hairy, beast-looking creature.
Yeah, right.
And then there's the one old Picnic Point, the woman who saw the fucking ape creature at Picnic Point.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about that one?
No.
No? Well, she was walking around Picnic Point, and this thing was only like 5 meters away from her. It just come out of nowhere. It was like 5 meters away from her. And she said it was huge. It was like, did she say, like 7 feet tall?
Yeah, right.
All covered in hair.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, so, I mean, we've got our own... There are stories out there if people just spent the time looking for them.
Yowie.
The old yowies. I mean, Kilcoy, of course, is the famous one.
Yeah, sure.
There's so many Kilcoy ones.
I would like to talk to a yowie chaser too. I think that'd be interesting.
Well, I can tell you that the best person to talk to is you're kidding, I'm going to forget his name, aren't I? But he's like the most famous Bigfoot hunter in Australia.
Yeah, right.
Holy shit. David, is his last name Hayes? But when I find it, I'll tell you. It's like
sure.
Derek Hayes.
Derek
Hayes? No, don't say that. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Fuck.
Doesn't matter.
But anyway,
Message me later.
He's got his own Facebook page and everything.
Yeah.
And he talks about some great encounters.
Yeah, cool. Let's talk about boxing then.
Yeah, I will. But before I get onto that,
yeah, sure, sure.
The best case I love when I look at the Bigfoot cases is the one down at Brisbane. Is it Spring? What's the place down at
Springshaw?
Is it Springshaw?
There's a place called Springshaw down there.
Okay, so that might be it. It's sort of like in the bushland of the coast area.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, mate, there's a famous case. He was a politician. He's now a retired politician, right? Bill Ochi or something was his name. Bill something, but he was a famous politician. But there was, I think it was the late 80s, early 90s, there was a group of, like all the school excursions go there to this place. And anyway, one school excursion, there was about 20 kids. And they were walking along one of the tracks, whatever. And they came across this yowie, this Bigfoot. And there was 20 witnesses. And this beast, whatever you want to call it, was breaking branches, and it used to go into their camp and just
fuck shit up,
fuck around with them, really. But there was 20 witnesses, teachers, students, all saw this this creature, and there's been books wrote about it. But this one of the witnesses ended up being a politician, and it's rare for like a politician or anyone who's got a public figure to admit that they've seen these creatures. But I'll have to get the name of this dude. And
yeah, sure. Yeah, that'd be good.
But Springshaw sounds familiar.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But that's the one that I always go to and love talking about because there were so many witnesses. So yeah, what do you want to talk about? Boxing.
Yeah.
Right, so
back when you were a young lad.
Yeah, when I was getting the shit belt out. Yep.
Tell me about it. How'd you get in? How'd you get into it? Why did you get out of it? Tell me.
The old man ran a boxing club for decades from the 1980s, practically until, he still trains now.
Yeah.
Sometimes. But in the 80s, mate, he had the biggest boxing club in, I'm going to say Queensland.
Yeah, right.
Maybe a stretch, but definitely had the biggest boxing club in Toowoomba.
Yeah.
It was back then. It was he had a few different clubs: Garden City Boxing Club, Kalkadoon Boxing Club. But he actually fought for the Australian title 3 times.
Your old man did.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
He fought Brendan Smith's father. I forget his name, but you know Brendan Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his father fought Dad 3 times for the Australian title. Story goes that the last fight they had, everyone said the old man won it. Sorry about that, but everyone said, but yeah. So, but he won numerous fights, numerous titles, and he ran a boxing, started up his own boxing club, and I'm going to say he was one of the biggest reasons why boxing is where it is today.
Yeah, right. In Australia.
Oh, in Toowoomba.
In Toowoomba.
Yeah, definitely in Toowoomba, because he organised boxing tournaments.
Yeah, okay.
In Toowoomba, and
when no one else was doing it.
Not like there was other clubs and that, of course, like PCYC.
Uh-huh. But nothing really.
Nothing like he was the one who was the voice for boxing in Toowoomba. And he had the Sports Stars of the Year back in the 1988. He had the Senior Sports Star of the Year, which was Darryl Hiles. And he had the Junior Sports Star of the Year, which was he's always said was his favourite boxer of all time, Elliot Anderson.
Yeah, okay.
But most of the boxers in his club were Aboriginal boys.
Uh-huh. Okay.
So it was known as, the guy who trained Aboriginal boxers.
Yeah, right.
99% of the boxers were Aboriginals.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how I, like my older brother, he did boxing.
Yeah.
I did boxing.
Yeah.
Craig did boxing. It was just what you did.
Who was the best out of you 3?
Me.
You? Hands down?
Oh, mate. Like, you ask Brett who was the and he'll say him. You ask Craig, and he'll say, but I had the most boxing fights.
Right.
I won Darlingdale's title, but
fuck, that would have been a hell of a sibling fight in the hallway. Coming up through your teens and shit.
Like Craig was 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Back when we were boxing, so and then Brett was 8 years older than me.
What, you don't think a 15-year-old would fight a 10-year-old brother?
Oh no, we definitely had spars, and mate, we definitely had spars. Me and Craig, me and Brett had spars, and I'll tell you a little story. My first 5 fights, I got belted up. No, actually, my first fight, I got knocked out. I was 9 years old, and I'll tell you a little fun story.
Yeah, go on.
Before I get into it. So my first fight, the bus back then, we had a bus, and it was called the Black Beauty.
Mm-hmm. It's a black bus.
No, it wasn't a black. No, like the driver was Wally Pegler, and he was an old Aboriginal fella.
Yeah.
Some people say it was attributed to him, like Black Beauty.
Uh-huh.
It was their driver.
Yeah.
But I think it was because most of the boxers were black.
Could be.
Whatever.
Different
anyway,
time.
It was called the Black Beauty, the bus. And so I was 9 years old, and even back then, I used to go to the training, sessions and watch Dad train these boxers. And even from when I was 7, I used to go, I want to box. And he used to go, yeah. When you're a bit old, And, he had me sparring at 7, which is why I am the way I am. Yeah, I'm pretty fucked up. Brain damage, whatever you want to call it. But I finally got my big chance. But I was only 9, and legally, you had to be 10.
Oh.
Right? But the way they got around it is if you're 9, you could have what's called exhibition fights.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so anyone who knows anything about boxing is exhibition fights are still fucking fights, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, for sure.
So 9 years old, I got my big moment. I got on the Black Beauty bus, and our destination was Cunnamulla.
Oh,
Cunnamulla,
yeah.
all right? Didn't know fucking anything about Cunnamulla or anything about, I've never been on a road trip. So that was an awakening first up, like getting just on the bus
Yeah.
I was the only white fella on that bus.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll react. One of the only white people on the bus. So yeah, got on the bus and Dad said, "Yeah, go sit with the boys." And I'm like 9 years old, and all the guys were older than me, and a lot of them were Aboriginal. So I learned pretty fast how to interact with Aboriginal boys, and they were good. You know, oh, you know, you sit up there, mate. You know, we'll look after. Yeah, we'll look after him, Ross.
Yeah,
whatever.
Most people are.
And as a 9-year-old,
generally
with a group of teenagers,
yeah,
heard a lot of stuff, a lot of good conversations.
Yeah,
anything from from what they did with their girl the night before, you know, to what they're going to do after the tournament. So I'm just going to leave that there. But
yeah, sure.
But as a 9-year-old, and Cunnamulla was a fair travel.
It's a fucking long way
for
away.
a 9-year-old. And of course, Dad was at the front, and he didn't treat me any different to any of the other boxers.
That's good.
Well, yeah, it was okay. So
while you're training, I would say that's good.
yeah, but I was the cockiest little motherfucker you'll ever.
I bet.
9 years old, and you know, I thought I could. You know, I thought I was invincible. You know, I had all these spars, and you know, no one could ever come near me. So got to the night of the tournament, weighed in, which was a fucking experience in itself. Back then, mate, if you're a little bit over, just whack off your dax, son. I was like, what? And Dad said, just pull your underpants off, mate. You know. And I'd be like, rightio. So this little white fella, fucking mate, there was no fucking fucking curtains around that day. Yeah. You were just stark naked in front of all the boys, women too, fucking, you know, laughing and what? Oh, look at that little fella. And so that was an experience in itself. So the night of the fight, okay. So all the other boys a lot of the other boys from our club had fought and won. You know, because you know they won, and I was getting around the fucking Cunnamulla tournament saying, you know, I'm the best, I'm going to beat fucking anyone.
So you're getting the big head from everyone else's victories,
mate. I was just big head.
Yeah,
no
sure.
What.
Yeah,
I'm going to beat. You know, who am I fighting? I'll probably knock him out probably in the first round, but maybe the second, but I don't know. And then I'd go up to the trophy table. Back then they used to have all the trophies on the table, and I'd point to the one I'm getting. Yeah, that's mine. That's what I'm taking home. And all the older boys used to come up and they say, mate, can you shut the fuck up? Shut the fuck up. You don't know your opponent. He could be good, mate. He could be good. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm the best.
They've been humbled before.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I didn't know what the fuck. I didn't know. And they say, mate, just relax. You got a fight coming up. Just sit down and relax. You're going to have no energy, man. And, oh, here comes your dad. You better fucking settle down, or your dad. Oh, fuck that. I'm the best. A 9-year-old. Could you imagine it? And so come fight night. I'm walking up to the ring. Mate, I'm not even thinking about the fight. I'm having the best fucking time ever. I'm looking around, pointing to my mates, the other boys in the club, saying, hey, I'm going to just about to fucking win. Yeah, watch this. And they're like, just shut the fuck up. So I'm walking up there and Dad's saying, mate, settle down. Just listen. You've got to listen to me. Yeah. Get in there. Cut a long story short, the bell rings. Mate, this little fucking fella from Cunnamulla, it was Cunnamulla resident. Didn't know this at the time, but he'd had a few fights before. Now, this was mate, he come out, hit me with, must have been 200 fucking straight fucking hands that I didn't know where they'll come from. I did not know where the fuck I was.
Yep.
And I was looking at Dad in the corner saying, what the fuck's going on? And he was like, you know, just get your gun up.
Yeah.
But, mate, it was, I was fucked. I was seeing stars and all kinds of shit. So the referee comes in and goes, no, all over. I'm like, what the fuck? So that was my first fight.
Yep.
I got flogged
Yep.
by this little Cunnamulla fella. And then I'm walking down and, mate, it's just how it was back then. All the boys were saying, oh, how'd that feel, man? You still fucking untouchable? Yeah, oh, you showed him, man. Yeah, you're the best. And I'm like, fucking got tears rolling down my face, you know, because I was embarrassed.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, where's your trophy? When's you going to take that big trophy? I'm like, yeah, what? Fuck up, cunt. And then Dad's like, oh, well, you know.
It happens.
It happens, man. You'll get the next one. And I'm thinking to myself, is this fucker for real? He thinks I'm getting back in the boxing. He thinks I'm going to have another fight. No fucking way. And I said to him, nah, that's it. Dad, I don't want to fight anymore. He's like, nah, you'll be right. Just go and play. Just fuck, more or less, fuck off. That was it. That's how it was back then. But I made up my mind right then and there that no way was I getting a fucking boxing fight again. Cut a long story short, Dad comes in one day and he's saying, "Oh, we got a tournament going at Oki, mate. Come out and just watch the boys. Just watch." It was the Oki show. Mm-hmm. It was 1980. I'll say 87, 80, whatever it was.
Good year that going.
And it was the Oki show, and Dad had organised to have a tournament at the Oki show. Mm. Okay, so I go, oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't really... No, just come and watch. Just, your cousins will be there. You can buy a show bag, whatever. I'm like, yeah, rightio. But something told me even then that there was something more to this fucking... Why did he want me so bad? So anyway, cut a long story short, so we go out to Oki, and back then the shows were in the middle of the street, mate. Mm-hmm. It was fucking awesome. From one end of the... Do you know Oki? One end of the street to the other. It was just all shows and rides and good shit. And I was barefoot. Didn't have any fucking shoes on. No one did. We were walking along. And next thing, I hear Dad yelling out, "Oh, Troy, just come here, mate. Come here, son." And I'm going, "Yeah, I'll be out." No, come here. So I walk over. And by his side is this little Aboriginal fella. About my height, my build. I'm thinking, what the fuck's going on here? So I walk over to Dad and he's like, yeah. He said, "You're the next fight. So I've got to glove you up." And he said, "Oh, this is Clint. Clinton Dodd." Shout out to Clinton Dodd. We're still, we've run into each other over the years. And anyway, so Clinton Dodd is who I'm talking about. And I'm thinking, glove up for what, Dad? "Oh, you're going to be the next fight. You'll love it. You'll love it." I'm like, "No, I don't want to fight." He goes, "Oh, don't do that in front of everyone. Just come here. Let me put the fucking gloves. Just listen to me this time."
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, "Oh, you're fucking kidding." And all my cousins were there. And they're like, "Are you fighting?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Fucking apparently.
But I tell you what, I'm a lot more fucking calm this time, and I'm actually listening.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh shit. But I was shit scared this time. Like all the fucking the big head was gone. And I'm looking at this little fella, this Clint Dodd, this little Aboriginal fella, and he's like bobbing around and he's weaving. And I'm thinking, what the fuck has he got me into this time? So, and the ring, by the way, is just a group of people in a circle. That's our ring, right in the middle of Oki Street. And so the bell rings. I'm like, you're fucking kidding. And all he's told me to do is to circle around, keep my guard up, and every time he comes near me is to keep my jab going. Uh-huh. And that's what I did for the first round. I got through the first round. So automatically I've bettered my last fight.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm a lot more confident. I'm thinking, this isn't too bad. And I'm actually starting to enjoy it again.
Yeah.
And he's going, okay, so this time when you go out, okay, I want you to throw a few more combinations, like left, right, left. Like, don't... Okay, so every
keeping
time...
it simple, yeah.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yeah. So every time he stops, he's trying to set you up for a big punch. So every time he stops, he's trying to set himself. Every time you see him stop, you move. And that's all I did. That's all. So, cut a long story short, my second fight was a triumph. Yeah, I won the fight, but and then I won my next few fights after that. I started getting better. But the one thing I learned very quickly is to not fucking underestimate your opponent and to always listen to Dad. Mate, he was a genius when it comes to boxing, which is why he had so many success stories. He had the biggest number of Australian title holders and Queensland state holders for a long time. He went on the news. Old Pat O'Shea was interviewed back then. He loved interviewing Dad.
Yeah.
He had one of the biggest boxing clubs ever.
Yeah,
in
cool.
Toowoomba. And then he had a joint boxing club with Alan Anderson. They had the Calcadoon Boxing Club. Uh-huh. Then there was a sister club sort of thing called Calcadoon Boxing Club, which was run by Terry Harms, which was Dad's best mate. So they always used to have sparring nights. Mm-hmm. Used to go over and spar his boys and vice versa. Boxing was different back then. I know people will jump on me for this, but boxing was, I think a lot more. It was better back in the day.
Yeah.
It's just my personal opinion. Like now, there's the big tournaments at Rumours and that, but
too many politics in it.
The local like everyone knew everyone back in the day. You know, like even from if you were from a different club,
Yeah.
you know, you used to get on and shit. But yeah, so that's how I come into boxing. My last fight was when I was 19. I fought a fellow by the name of Bobby Washington.
Mm?
The old Washingtons had a pretty big name for themselves around town at that time. But he was a lot older than me. He was like late 20s, early 30s. And he was actually turning professional. This was supposed to be his last fight before he turned professional.
Yeah, okay.
So we had a fight, and we'd actually sparred each other the week before. And he'd actually clipped me a good one. And I remember him clipping me a good one. And then the next week, Dad and Terry, his mate, put us in together. He said, "No, you'll go." He said, "This is Bobby's last fight before he was going to turn professional." I said, "Oh yeah." So yeah, it was all good. Had the fight. It was a draw, and he'd had one professional fight later on, and then he committed suicide.
Really?
Yeah, he had apparently he was having a lot of personal issues going on.
Fuck.
So yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, but
going back to your first fight though, that
Yep.
humbling experience.
yes,
I don't think that happens enough
no,
these days. So like, you know, you were big-headed, talking shit.
I was the next Muhammad. I was calling myself Muhammad Ali. I was
So-
going around saying I'm Muhammad Ali, and everyone was saying this guy's a
So you were literally
annoying
talking
little
shit,
fucker. Yeah.
and you got hit,
Oh,
I don't
mate,
think
got
it happens
I didn't
enough
just get hit.
anymore.
I got
pummeled.
belted.
Yeah.
I got belted, and talking to the old man many years later, he said, "Yeah." He said, "Look, I could have threw in the towel a little earlier, but I wanted you to experience the fact that,
Really feel it.
yeah, you've got to listen to me." And yeah,
Hey,
But-
it worked.
it did work, but the boxing is a different beast, mate. Like I loved it. Like the experiences, like when you're training, like people say boxing's an individual sport, and it is. But when you're training with the guys, and no other boxer knows what a boxer goes through unless you've done it yourself.
Sure.
And that's the one thing about boxing. Your boxing mates, like no one else knows what it's like to be to go through boxing unless it's another boxer.
Yeah, sure.
And you've always got that brotherhood, camaraderie, whatever you want to call it. And it's different to football. I don't care what people say. It's different to football. It's different to any other team sport. Because, you know, when you're playing a team sport like football or cricket and your team loses, you know, you've got mates to talk about it, and you don't feel... When you're in a boxing ring and you get fucking belted,
It's all you.
it's all you at the end of the day. You got nowhere to run. When
Sure.
that bell sounds, seconds out, round one, ding, ding, ding. That's
Yeah.
it. There's nowhere to run. You know, and that's why. Ever since my first fight, when I ever had a fight, I always kept things to myself. Like I never ever once said, "I'm going to fuck you up, man," because I knew from my first experience, hey,
That could
maybe
be-
I'm the one who's going to get fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, I always had confidence,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's a different kind of confidence.
Yeah.
Like,
Confidence, not cocky.
and my dad always said, and I remember him saying to my younger brother, don't know about Brett because I was too young. Didn't. The one tape I saw of him, it was a sparring session with Daryl Halls before Daryl, and it was a fucking good spar, and it's still on video somewhere. Brett was a good fighter, but what was I talking about? The one thing Dad always told me, and I remember him telling all the other boxers, is I remember this one boxer used to be so nervous before his fight, he used to spew up. And every fight, he used to be so sick and spew up. And Dad used to say, "Oh, that's good, good." And
Nerves
we were
keep
all-
you honest.
Well, not only that, but if you're not nervous going to a fight, there's something wrong. Because it's the
Yeah.
nervousness that helps you fucking... it's the adrenaline that's pumping through you that helps you to fucking...
Keep
get
focus.
set. And if you're not nervous, there's something wrong.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I remember Dad saying, because I was always nervous for my... Especially after my... Well, I should say I was nervous ever since my first fight because fuck me dead. But so... And I used to say, Dad, I'm feeling nervous, like I'm feeling sick. I used to say I'm sick. Like I love boxing, but before the fight, I always used to feel sick.
Yeah.
And Dad said, good,
Yeah.
good. He said, if you're not sick, then there's something wrong. I said, what do you mean? He goes, mate, everyone's nervous before their fight. Your opponent
He'd be
over
shitting
there
himself as well.
is nervous as hell. And it's good. Once that bell sounds first round, you're right. He said, you know you're right. You'll be right. Just listen to me. And so that's something I always remember that, you know, whenever I get nervous,
As soon as you start, you'll be right.
there's so much that I've taken from boxing
Sure.
that people just can't explain unless I've done it themselves. Like there's always a confidence. Like I'm not the greatest fucking fighter in the world. I
Because
guarantee
you don't
it.
have to be.
But
Learn the lessons. You don't have to be the
That's it.
greatest at
That's it.
anything to learn lessons.
But I'll say this: I know enough, I think, to get me out of most trouble situations.
Yeah, I know
So
what you're
when I used to walk downtown, fucking, you know, in my crazy days, I was always confident enough to walk downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds like I've got an ego or something, but I always had that feeling that from all the years of boxing and self defense and shit, I always felt comfortable. Like, I'm not saying that I was the greatest fighter, and I'm not. I can guarantee you.
The everyday person is not either, though.
But
Yeah.
I knew enough. And I had a few fucking fights on the street too. Nothing to brag about, but it just happened. But even when I was getting, even if I was losing the fight, right, I always had that ability or that
Protect
enough to get me out of
Yeah.
fucking problems.
Sure.
And that's what I've always
I
taken.
understand what
And
you're saying.
It's always given you a confidence, you know, to be able to, I don't know, it's a confidence that you have that helps you throughout everyday fucking life. You know? And even when I've got some fuckwit, even in my job at the moment, and I'm not going to say where I work or anything, but even in my job at the moment, like I deal with some real nasty characters at the time.
Yeah.
And even when they think that they're getting over me or they're trying to intimidate me, I'm always thinking, if this fucker only knew that
You could fuck him up. For sure.
So that's the confidence that you get out of boxing. Like,
But it's not only that. Like, you know, the average person is met with a situation that you're just talking about now. You know, there's a fuckwit yelling at you or whatnot.
Yep.
And their adrenaline's already spiked.
Yep.
Yours is probably only just flickering off normal.
Yep.
Whereas someone like me, I've never done any sort of professional fighting. I don't pretend to be a professional fighter at all.
Yep.
My adrenaline's probably, you know, getting up there. I would like to think that I'm pretty level-headed usually.
Yep.
But I can guarantee you, I would nearly guarantee that my tolerance level for that sort of thing, you know, when my adrenaline spikes, when I stop thinking about, or clearly rather, when I stop clearly thinking about what I'm about to say or about to do and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
People that are trained in those sorts of situations, like yourself, or in any other sort of self-defense type scenario, they're going to handle that so much better than the average person.
Yeah, well, I think like the boxing when I first, okay, I'll just say I'm in the security industry, right? So when I first started security back in 2001, whatever, I'll go on record this. I've been told before, but I was the littlest bouncer in fucking Toowoomba history. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I was like 60 kilos or something, maybe even 57. All right, and my first job was at Roomers International nightclub. Right now, when I started bouncing, like I knew from the years of boxing that hey, even though I'm little, I can sort of get out of a lot of, you know, if I had to,
because you know how to.
if I had to,
Yeah.
right. But I'd also learnt to control myself, and if someone's shouting or so let's fight. I always learnt never to fight unless you absolutely have to, and that's the one thing that helped me get through working at nightclubs.
Yeah,
is I was able to 99 times out of 100 I was able to talk my way out of it.
Yeah,
and I'd learnt self control, and if someone's been a fuck or saying let's fight, or the only time that I've ever really had to defend myself was one particular night, and that was only because there was no other option. I was in a corner, which was my first mistake.
Yep. And
this big motherfucker, he easily 100 kilos, but was coming at me, and I thought, well, no, fuck this. And, being my size, there's talk of all pinpoint pressure. Fuck that shit. Like, I did what I was trained to do, and I got out of that situation. But that was the only time where I've had to use.
Sure,
something.
when you add things like alcohol and possibility of drugs and whatnot, and people can't handle, like, alcohol's worse by far of any fucking drug.
I agree with you on that one.
Absolutely. When you throw alcohol into the mix with anyone that likes to think, especially if they're 100 kilos, they are already walking around like a fucking dog with two dicks.
Yes.
So they're going to look at you. You try and tell them to settle down. They're not going to fucking take you seriously straight off the bat.
Yep.
Straight off the bat.
And that's the first thing I was told was, mate, I think you're in the wrong job. Fuck off. And people, that's what they just waved their hand at me. Like, fuck off. But there were people who knew me. And knew the family, whatever. But a lot of people, and our worst nights were always fucking rodeo nights.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to all the rodeo people, but for whatever reason, there was always trouble when Toowoomba had rodeo fucking nights, and the cowboys used to come in. They used to have their cowboy fucking hats
fucking
on.
Rum.
And, but they used to look at me and they go, what the fuck are you? You're security? Fuck off, man.
Yeah.
And, But that I always used to my advantage. Like, people didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah,
I was
sure.
so small, but over the years, you learn to fucking deal with that. And
you still train?
Yeah.
You don't fight anymore, obviously.
No, my last fight was when I was 19.
Yeah, you still train though.
I still train, mate. My son's just started training.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, like the old man, he had clubs ever since the 80s, right until now. He'd start up a club, he'd go for a while, and then for whatever reason, it'd stop. So I always used to be around it. I've always been around it. Even the old gym in Trap Street, Rockville, it was just a garage, mate.
I think I was there.
Yeah, you
I think that's the gym that I went to.
Yep.
Well, I really wanted to stay, but it was what happened? I think we moved out of town or something. It's just too far for travel wise and stuff. So my boxing career was very short lived, and I think I was 8, 9 when I was there. So I didn't even have a fight.
No, I'm pretty sure I remember you actually, but that garage was
I was there at the garage, sure.
Was my room too.
Was it?
It was.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, after everyone left, I used to had the job of packing the bags up and pulling the bed out. But anyway, but your dad actually came in the corner of some of my fights. I think I told you that before.
Yeah, so I remember I can't even remember where it was or anything, but I can remember being at one fight. I was young. Yep. I was real young. And the reason I was there is because Dad was in the corner. It must have been yours.
There you go.
I do wish that things turned out differently and I could have pursued that a bit more. But
hey, you're still young, man. You still could. Yeah. What about they've even got those corporate fights all the time. That old Smithy, is it Brendan that does it? But corporate fights, like people that have never had a boxing fight, you organise it.
Really,
mate? There are companies. I can't remember, but say plumbing companies. They'll nominate guys in their company to fight other guys from other plumbing companies.
Really?
Yeah. I think they call it corporate nights or something like that.
I'm gonna have to look into that too.
But
might have to join up to a gym.
That's it. But there's fights all the time that you're never too old. Except,
no.
Like you're only
34.
There you go.
Or 33. 34 this year.
That's
later.
not old, mate.
Nah. I don't think
And
it's
you're
old,
fit too.
but
You've got that on your side. You're fit. Like,
Try to be.
yeah, you've got that on your side. But you're never too old. Never too old to start learning self-defense or having a fight.
This is true. But
A
anyways,
boxing fight. That is, yeah.
I'm going to have to pull up stumps here.
Yeah, so I was
speak.
just about to say the same, mate.
Thanks for coming over. Really appreciate it. I'll
That's good. That was good.
I enjoyed it.
We covered a lot of different subjects, didn't
fuck
we?
yeah, we did.
But
Always
before
do.
you go,
Okay. Yeah.
the old man is on to me about training, about boxing training. He
Right.
still wants to know if you're still, if
Very.
young fellas are interested.
Yeah, he is.
And you've got to let us know. Got to let him know. That's all. That's the one thing he told me.
Yeah.
Because I told him I was doing this
Yeah,
podcast
yeah.
with him. He's going, yeah. Well, tell him that I want to get started again, and if he's serious,
Yeah.
because that's what I said. The old man has always been training the odd person, even though he hasn't got the big club anymore. But he still trains.
Yeah, okay.
A few years ago, he had all girls train boxing.
Yeah.
My nieces and a couple of their friends.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah, well,
so let us
I'll
know,
definitely
mate.
be.
Let us know.
Definitely,
what's happening.
definitely. All right, thank you very much.
Awesome.
Let's shut this shit show down.
Thanks, everybody. Hope you enjoyed yourself. Like and comment. Join the Facebook group. And keep it real.